Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to cover an important concept which is must for understanding any programming languages, and mostly in Python it is very important because the foundation is built on this. So it is called variables and data types. So variable is nothing but a data stored in memory location, right? Variables, we can say, like something like a container for storing data values. So like there are different types of variables we can create based on either the business requirement or how things are required for building the respective application. So a variable can be created using an assignment operator in Python, right? So let's say if you want to create a variable name which will take or store name. So what you generally do is you create the variable name, give it the assignment operator, and enter the value, right? This is one variable. This is a variable, you can easily understand it's a string variable. Let's say we want to write another variable that is something like age. So this is a variable which is an integer variable. There is something called weight. We are writing a weight for anything. So this is something called a float variable, right? So also one thing to understand is, right, anything in Python which you want to comment, which the Python code will not execute, is started by comments, which you can always start using the hash sign, right? Now there, this variables what we create, right, everything is following a set of rules, right? Like you cannot simply create variables on your own, and the Python will execute it. So there are a set of rules that are required to be followed while creating variables in Python. First is the variable names. They must start with the letters, right? Either lowercase a to z, right, or uppercase a to z, or an underscore sign, right? Underscore. Second is they can contain letters, numbers, and underscore again. Third is variable names are case sensitive. When I say case sensitive, I mean to say if you are taking a variable name as name and you are assigning it some value, you have another variable which is something like n a m e, where n is capital. They both are different. The fourth and most important is avoid using Python keywords, right? So there are as variable names. So there are set of keywords, right, like if, for, etc., which Python has reserved for its internal execution, right? So you cannot use them while creating variables. Also, I want to explain one another concept here is Python is a dynamically typed language, right? So when I say dynamically typed language, what I'm trying to say here is when I write age is equal to 65 here, right? Python does not need to know from user or us that 65 is an integer. It will automatically validate that, and it knows, that this is integer value. Similarly, for name is equal to JSON, Python understands that this is a string value, so we don't have to explicitly mention that name is JSON is a string value like we do in other programs, right? Like programming languages like C, etc. Now, since we are aware of the rules right now, right? Let's try something which will help us with the variable name validation. Let's try some examples, right? So I'm trying something like, let's say my home, right, equal to house, whatever, right? So this is a valid variable name because it follows the basic rules, right? Now I want to try something like an illegal variable name format, right? So this is not correct, right? Why? I want you to answer. So the statements, if you see, it has, I got an invalid character, right? It can only use underscore. It cannot use anything apart from this. So this is more of variables right now, and this is the basic of variables in this lecture. What we are going to cover now is built-in data types. So Python has different data types, right? Like every programming language you currently have. So we have integers, we have float, we have strings. Strings is nothing but a text includes in quotation, either double quotation or single quotation. Then we have booleans, which is true or false. Then we have list, we have tuples, we have sets, we have dictionaries, right? This is more used when you are using data structures, or you have conditions where you want data to be in certain format. So let's talk about something, right? Let's say I type age equal to 30 here, right? Now I print age. Before that, I want to remove that. Do you understand what was the reason in terms of execution? This uppercase, this lowercase. So if you see now, I have created a data type of integer here, right? And I printed it. We got 30. Similarly, I'm taking another string, going to print it, name. So this is nothing but a data type, again string. Similarly, I'm taking something for weight. This is nothing but again float, a floating number. Now the next one is boolean, right? So boolean is nothing but it accepts either the condition is true or condition is false. So let's talk about boolean, right, for a while. So take a food app example, right? So if your food is delivered, right, you mark that condition as true. So either this can be true or this can be false, right, depending on the conditions. The only thing important here is to make sure in terms of syntax is the T for true, F for false, should always be in uppercase, right? That is the basic funda for this. Now, since we have created a lot of variables with different data types, right? Integer, string, float, boolean, right? Now, how do I know whether, this age is equal to 30 is integer data type, right? How do I know? Or how can Python tell me, right? This is integer. So there is a way to do that. There is something called as type, you know. So type generally will give me what is the data type for age. So if you see now, sorry for the typo. I don't know why this came up. Okay. Ouch. Understood. Sorry. So if you see, we are getting a class of integer, right? Similarly, you can do for any data type, any variable you are using, right? So I'm doing it for name here. You can similarly do for weight as well. You can do it for boolean as well. Now, once we execute it, you will see the data type for everything, right? 30 is integer, JSON is a string, 8.55 is a float data type, true is a boolean called bool, right? So this is what we have covered so far, the foundations, variables and data types. I hope it is clear. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.